Have I ever talked about this one? Probably. I might even have a video about it somewhere. Or maybe I haven't talked about it and I just included it in a bundle video that I made a couple years ago talking about all of them. Either way, I randomly felt like talking about Dragon Ball Z Budokai. This is the first one that came out, the first game in our Western world of modernization outside of Japan that we actually started to look at these games and started taking them just a little bit more seriously. Budokai, at least compared to every single other Budokai title, is the weakest of the bunch, you'd think, but there is quite a bit I actually really love about the very first Budokai. Namely, its story. It has some of the more entertaining what-if storylines in particular. You only get the Saiyan, Frieza, and Cell sagas. There's no Buu saga in Budokai 1. And that's disappointing. It really is, because the Great Saiyaman from the Buu saga is included in Budokai 1 for some reason. Somehow, for some reason. I don't know why the Great Saiyaman is here. I don't know why they didn't include the Buu saga. Were they just on a crunch for time and thought, we don't really have time to do the Buu saga, let's just do what we have. Just release it that way. Maybe. Who knows? Either way, in the typical Budokai formula, that is the formula of Budokai, which includes Budokai 1, 2, 3, Infinite World, Shin Budokai 1 and 2, as well as Burst Limit. The Budokai formula, that type of gameplay mechanic that has been consistently the same all the way up to Burst Limit. In that series, we're not talking about Tenkaichi or Sparking Zero or Raging Blast or any of those. We're talking specifically the Budokai solo in that type of framed series. The first Budokai contains quite a few playable characters that were introduced in the first entry that were never introduced in subsequent entries. Characters such as Dodoria, Zarbon, Android 19. These three characters were playable in Budokai 1, and they were never playable in 2, 3, Infinite World, which is technically Budokai 4. Or they weren't in Burst Limit, they weren't in Shin Budokai 1 or 2, which are the PSP games, which are actually excellent. Especially Shin Budokai Another Road, that's a very good game. But Dodoria, Zarbon, Android 19, they're not in those games. How did they get added into this game, but never in the subsequent ones? At the very least, you would think that Android 19 and Zarbon would get in, because you could have easily at least one fight with Vegeta in a story mode versus Zarbon, and of course Goku's main fight with Android 19. The only person that Dr. Gero has ever fought was Piccolo, and Gero is playable in Budokai 2, 3, Infinite World. He's in Burst Limit. He's in the Shin. I think he's in the Shin Budokais. I'm not exactly sure. The Shin Budokais are an interesting one in that they have a lot of characters, but they also cut a lot of characters. It's a thing, whatever. But I don't know why Zarbon and Android 19 aren't in there. I don't know why they chose Dr. Gero over Android 19. That is a very confusing question, because considering Gero only had a fight with Piccolo, and it's very brief, very, very brief, and Goku actually had a main story fight with 19. You'd think if you're going to make a story mode, you would need Android 19. That's what Budokai thought, because they included Goku versus Android 19. They included cutscenes of Goku versus Android 19. They included cutscenes of Zarbon. They gave you the Vegeta versus Zarbon fight. And of course, Dodoria got cut from the story mode, but he's playable in the story, even though I don't think Dodoria has any unique lines of dialogue, sadly. Another thing that I'd like to point out with the Budokai, the very first one, is alternate outfits. Alternate outfits in the Budokai series have been very interesting in the earlier titles, and in later titles they got very boring and bland, and they started cutting a lot of cool stuff from this. Even the latest and greatest, which is Sparking Zero, cut a lot of outfits. For example, in the Sparking Zero series, the Tenkaichi series, even the Raging Blast series, and the Xenoverse series, Yamcha has an outfit in the Budokai series, primarily Budokai 1, 2, 3, and Infinite World, that includes his banana suit. What is the banana suit? The banana suit is that yellow suit that Yamcha wore during the Buu saga. He's kind of looking like he's a member of Miami Vice in that. Toriyama probably made that outfit as a nod to Miami Vice. He's a big TV show buff. But Yamcha has the banana suit outfit, and it's playable in 2, 3, and 4. Not in 1, actually. No, Yamcha has another alternate outfit in the first Budokai. I think it's a long sleeve shirt and regular pants with his normal Android Saga pre-3 years training, so he's got the bowl cut. I think that was the outfit that they gave him for an alternate. There were a lot of casual outfits for alternates in this. Krillin has, I want to say he's got the baseball cap on and the green jacket or whatever they had before he went out into space. Goku's got a brown blazer jacket, not a blazer. He's got a brown. What is that word? Aviator jacket. He's got a jacket of some size, brown with a little fur on the back or whatever. It's aviator's jacket or something. It's pretty cool looking. I think he wore this during the 10 days during the Cell games. We got Teen Gohan's alternate outfit, which is the if you've watched Battle of Gods, Dragon Ball Z, and you see Yamcha's outfit, that white traditional martial arts look. That's actually the outfit that Gohan has as an alternate outfit in the first Budokai. Zarbon has this Casanova outfit where he gets to wear this like dancer's black dancing pants and a white opened V-cut shirt with collar. I wouldn't be surprised if they gave him a rose in between his teeth. He's got this really weird outfit that I love. I love it that they gave Zarbon that as an alternate outfit. Because the funny part is, he can still transform into Monster Zarbon while wearing this Casanova outfit. It was so good. I love the outfits of the first Budokai. They have never been this good. They have never added any of these outfits to any of the future titles, which is very disappointing. Vegeta, his alternate outfit is a black leather jacket and some regular khakis or whatever. A black leather jacket with khakis. I think it looks like what he wore at the end of Z, when he and Bulma came to visit Goku when he was wearing his blue gi. I think it looks more like that outfit. But he's wearing it here as an alternate outfit for the first Budokai that didn't even cover the Buu saga. That's fantastic. I love that. I think Tien has his mountain clothes, you know, the typical outfit that he wore when he showed up to help against Buu when Gohan was struggling against Buu tanks or whatever. I think that's the outfit that Tien wears as an alternate. And then in the sequel series, the sequel Budokai 2 3, Tien wears that as his basic default outfit, and then his shirtless look is his alternate. What else for Piccolo? I think this game includes Piccolo's his cape and hat. I'm not exactly sure about this. I know Budokai 3 adds this in. No, I think Piccolo's alternate in this is the same alternate that he had in Budokai 2, which is the nail outfit. I think that's his alternate in this one, which is okay. It's fine, I guess. What else? Is there anybody else who has an alternate outfit that I remember fondly? I can't really think of any. Cell has a blue version. Like, it's as if one of the Cell Juniors grew up. The big blue Cell. Yeah, I think that's his alternate in almost all of the sequels in the Budokai series. Frieza, I think, has an alternate where it has just a different other recoloration. The purple becomes reddish, I think. There's a lot to dig into with the first Budokai game when you think about things like that. When you go to the story mode, there's 3 what-if stories where Vegeta fights and actually wins against Goku, Krillin, and Gohan. And Yajirobe shows up to try to prove his mettle, and then Vegeta gets angry and turns Super Saiyan at the very end. It's silly, I love it. There is one in the Frieza arc that I can't recall off the top of my head what happens in it. I kind of need to replay this at some point. I'm going purely off memory here. I haven't played this in like a decade. But the one I definitely remember off the top of my head is the Cell Saga What If story, where Cell goes up against 17. He absorbs 17. He fights Krillin, who stands up for 18. He defeats Krillin. Then Cell tries to absorb 18, but Krillin gets in the way. And Cell ends up absorbing Krillin instead, and turns into an alternate recoloring of a Cell Jr. character, but with Krillin's orange color. So you get to play as Cellin in the third fight, where Yamcha shows up to fight Cell, to try to get revenge for the loss of Krillin. So Cellin ends up defeating Yamcha, but then Tien defeats Cell with his Kikoho, and it's awesome. It is hilarious. Cell ends up waking up, and it was a nightmare. So Cell ends up having a nightmare of losing to Tien. I love how that's like this PTSD of his, that he keeps thinking of Tien doing that, and it's awesome. I love it. It's one of my favorite what-if sequences in the entirety of this franchise, and I'm so sad that they never ended up redoing it. I'm so sad they never gave the Cell Jr. the Cellin recolor, because Cell Jr. ends up being playable in future titles. He is playable technically here, because you play as the Cell Jr. just with the Cellin recoloring. But I have never unlocked the Cybermen or the Cell Jr. in my copy here. I don't think I've ever done it in Budokai 2 either. I think I have them in Budokai 3. I'm not exactly sure. But you definitely get them in the Tenkaichi series. You definitely get them in the Raging Blast series. But they never gave Cell the recoloring for Cellin. And they never, I don't even think Sparking Zero did it. I hope a fan makes a what-if fan fight, where, and they give it a mod. They mod in the Cellin outfit. I hope somebody does this so that we could get the proper reenactment of Yamcha versus Cellin. We need to see this. We need it coming back. We need to bring it back. We need to bring back a lot of these alternate outfits that existed in this. I think Captain Ginyu has Goku's gi on as an alternate outfit. He even has got the power pole, the Noibo on his back. That was very good. I think they added that in for the sequel titles as well. And honestly, the game is very serviceable. The previous game that we got before Budokai was Final Bout. And that was, I think that came out before they even started dubbing Z. So we got weird dub choices for the English language voices for all the characters, and it's very weird. But of course we had GT characters, and we didn't know what GT was. So it was pretty weird. Either way, Final Bout had great music, but terrible game. Then we get to Budokai, which actually has serviceable combat. It's like a very passable fighting game. It's very easy. It's very easy. You can just button mash, square, and triangle, which is punch and kick. And you can do most of the combos. In the first title, though, you cannot do long-range attacks, key attacks, without actually pressing the combo buttons. In future titles, you could, for example, press the forward button, or this button here on the analog stick, and you press that and then hold down the key button here, which is the key attack, the circle button. You could hold down that and do a key attack like the Kamehameha as a shortcut in future titles. But in the first one, you could not do this. You had to actually put in the actual combination, like square, 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 then circle, which would do the Kamehameha. That's the combo for using the Kamehameha. It's very easy. Some of the better attacks require more complex combinations. Some of them are pretty easy. For example, Vegeta's Final Flash, you would do square, square, triangle, triangle, then circle, and then you would do the Final Flash. For the Big Bang attack, you would have to use the forward button, and then the punch button, then punch, punch, kick, kick, then circle, and then you would get your Big Bang attack. But it's very simple, it's very easy to remember. All the combos are there, where you just press the start button, look at the character's combo list, and see their special attacks. You could equip them as skill items. And this is the same thing that they've done for all future titles. They kind of streamlined it a little bit better in Infinite World, but from 1, 2, and 3, you would equip attacks as little capsule items that you would unlock through playing the game. You could win these capsules through story mode, you could win them in the World Tournament mode, in various other modes. You can unlock capsules to do these things. Now, sometimes you would get Dragon Balls in story mode when you're playing, and you collect 7 of the Dragon Balls, you can make a wish. And usually with the wish, you would get either a bonus mode every time, just get the bonus mode, the Mr. Satan bonus mode, where he gets to fight against everybody at the Cell Games. I love that mode. It's a very good survival mode. What else? What else am I thinking? I'm trying to think of another thing here. Oh yeah, the breakthroughs. So normally you would be limited to whatever slots for attacks and transformations you would have on your character's capsule list, your Z item list. So for example, Goku has the most transformations. He has Kaioken, Kaioken times 2, Kaioken times 3, Kaioken times, I think it's 10, and then Kaioken times 20, or is it Kaioken times 1, 2, 3, 20, then Super Saiyan. Either way, he's got a bunch. And that'll take up 5 transformation slots on a list that doesn't have that many slots in general. For example, Vegeta, to get to his final form, you just have Super Saiyan and then Super Vegeta. And then you could put all of his attacks in. And, you know, it's not exactly fair, because some characters have more transformations, they take up more slots. To get to Goku's regular Super Saiyan, you have to put 5 transformation slots in just to get that. And his Super Saiyan form, every transformation will drain gradually your ki bar. And comparison, Vegeta Super Saiyan to Goku Super Saiyan, Goku Super Saiyan drains really fast because he's technically 5 tiers of transformations deep. Whereas Vegeta is only 1 transformation deep, so his transformation doesn't deplete as quickly. So you have to constantly be powering up, you have to constantly be doing that. If Goku gets knocked down, when his power bar, his ki bar, is anywhere below 5, he will fall out of the Super Saiyan transformation if you get knocked down. If he jumps back up immediately, he will not be knocked out of the transformation. But you have to keep an eye on all of these things, and it's kind of annoying. But if you get a breakthrough item, a breakthrough capsule, this item will fill up your character's entire item slot screen, but it will also unlock everything that character can do. So, for example, Goku, if you give him everything to Super Saiyan, if you try to give him all of his attack combos, special attacks, Kamehamehas, and other type of melee combinations, you will not have enough room to give him everything that he's able to do. But if you give him a breakthrough skill, the Z item, it will fill out his entire thing, but it will also give him everything that he could potentially do in battle. So the breakthrough ones are very useful for all these characters. You can get them in the summoning the dragon menu by collecting all 7 Dragon Balls. You just play through the story mode every time. You'll get a Z item. Sometimes you get a Dragon Ball. Play through the World Tournament a few times. Sometimes you get a Z item. Sometimes you get a Dragon Ball. But eventually you get all 7 Dragon Balls, and you can keep on collecting them and doing. The idea of this is just keep playing. The idea of Dragon Budokai is just keep playing, keep fighting, keep fighting, keep playing, keep playing, and keep fighting. And if you were a little teenage muskrat, gremlin, back in the day, back in the early 2000s, if you were an 8-year-old, a 12-year-old, whatever, you're a big Dragon Ball Z fan, and you basically only got one game every 2 games a year, maybe Christmas and birthdays, and this was your Christmas present. You had a few months to go until you got your birthday. This is the only PS2 game you had. Well, this is the only one you'd be playing every day. So of course you'd be going through the story mode tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of times. It's the only PS2 game you had, so you continue to do it. You continue to go at it. You mastered the characters, and it's actually really easy to do so because the combos are very basic. You have heavy characters, Piccolo, Nappa, I want to say Raccoon also. You have heavy characters which have a slower combos, and but their moveset looks very identical. You have medium characters like your Goku, your Yamcha, and I want to say a couple other characters like Ginyu. Those combos will look the exact same when they pull them off. Then you have medium-sized characters like your Vegeta, like your Frieza, and I want to say Teen Gohan, and a couple others like the Android 17. Their combos will look very similar. Some characters have a unique combo set. Android 18, I think, is the only female playable in the game, so her moveset is pretty unique. Krillin, the Krillin, Teen Gohan, or Kid Gohan, all the short characters have the similar movesets. All of the medium characters like Goku, Tien, and all that stuff, they have. And this is interesting. Yamcha is not automatically unlocked in this game. You have to unlock him by beating him as Cellin in the Cell game story mode. Yamcha may be one of the last characters you unlock in this game. That's very funny to me, because when you start the game, the only characters that are unlocked automatically are Goku, Piccolo, Tien, Krillin, Kid Gohan, and I want to say Raditz, and I want to say Nappa. I want to say Raditz and Nappa. I think you have to have at least 8 characters unlocked. You have to have at least 8, but Yamcha's not one of them. So you're going to have to get him somehow. Raditz, I think, is definitely automatically unlocked. I think Nappa as well. I don't know about Vegeta. I think you have to unlock him, but you got to remember, I'm going off memories that are over a decade old at this point, since that was the last time I played this. But then again, I never played a new game of this. So my memory of seeing the default characters is back when I was like 8 to 9 years old. This is a long time ago. This is an old game. It's like, what, 2001? Right? This is a long time ago. So, if you end up emulating this or playing this on the PS3 release that came with Budokai 1 and Budokai 3, you're going to have some different changes. You're going to have some changes here. Okay? So, the PS2 version is the only version that comes with the original Kenji Yamamoto soundtrack. Now, Kenji Yamamoto got in some trouble with some copyright because most of his music, if not all of it, was pulled from other things. Basically, rock music, metal music. If you're a big fan of power metal, you will love this soundtrack. Like, you will love it. If you want to go ahead and on the big YouTube platform, you type in Budokai Challengers, Budokai soundtrack Challengers. You type in that Challengers, and listen to that soundtrack. Listen to that song, and then I want you to go into that same bar and type in Stratovarius Hunting High and Low, and then press enter, and then you'll see that the song is basically the exact same. It's just instrumental. And that's for the same case for a lot of these songs, is that Kenji pulled from rock music, metal music, he even pulled from Earth, Wind, and Fire. The pop group, the pop rock group from forever ago, Earth, Wind, and Fire. September. You can listen to September if you're a big fan of September, that song. It's a very big earworm. When you go into the options menu in this game, he will hear it. I think it's in the options menu. No, not the options menu. I think it's item unlock. When you get a Z item, then you hear that jingle. When you collect a Z item after beating a battle, you'll have this little jingle that plays. Either way, the Earth, Wind, and Fire song. It's the Earth, Wind, and Fire song. And That's very good. I love that song, and I love the soundtrack. I love this game's soundtrack to death. I do. That's probably because I'm a big rock fan, a big metalhead fan. I love metal music, rock music. I listen to all the songs. I got into Stradivarius thanks to Budokai. I did, because some of my favorite tracks ended up actually being pulled from Stradivarius. So I would go and listen to Stradivarius. It was actually free marketing. Yeah, you actually had people who had never heard of these bands go out and listen to them thanks to Kenji Yamamoto plagiarizing the music. Either way, when they re-released Budokai for the PlayStation 3, it came with a collection of Budokai 1 and Budokai 3. It did not come with Budokai 2, which I don't know why. I actually love Budokai 2. I think the story mode of Budokai 2 is one of the most unique in this franchise, and it was very fun to play. Either way, it comes with 1 and 3, but they replaced the soundtrack with the Budokai Tenkaichi 2 soundtrack. So if you ever play this for the PlayStation 3 or the updated version or whatever, you're not going to get the Kenji Yamamoto music. You're not going to get it, sadly. You're going to get a washed down Tenkaichi 2 soundtrack that's just the exact same soundtrack across both games. And of course they did this with Raging Blast 2 as well. There are launch versions of the copy that I have a launch version of that have the original soundtrack. But then there's a second wave of Raging Blast 2 copies that come with the Tenkaichi 2 soundtrack on it. It's the same soundtrack. I don't know why they just keep repurposing the exact same soundtrack for these games instead of making a new soundtrack, but hey, what can you do, right? They just last minute re-released it and gave you the exact same music. It's very disappointing, it's very sad, it's very annoying, but who cares? I like the Raging Blast 2 original soundtrack. I didn't really care for Tenkaichi 2 soundtrack all that much. There's some tracks that are very good, but I ultimately prefer the Yamamoto soundtracks for the Budokai trilogy and Infinite World as well. I love the music. It's so much fun. It's probably because they're based off better groups, better bands. Journey has a song. It has a track that Yamamoto plagiarized in Budokai 3, which is very fun to listen to. Either way, the Budokai series is definitely worth visiting even today if you're not a fighting game fan. I'm gonna do that. That's that big barrier. That's the big thing that we gotta talk about. If you're not a fighting game fan, if you played Tekken 2 on the PlayStation 1 when you were 6 years old and you died to everything killed you immediately, and you were always very angry because you sucked so bad, and then 2 years later you got this game and you actually started beating people and you felt really good about that. You're beating everybody up and you're actually winning battles because this game is a piss easy fighting game. That's probably one of the easiest fighting games you'll ever play. This is probably the fighting game that people who don't like fighting games will play and say, hey, I like this game. Because if you actually were a big shot, big Mr. Big Shot, when you played Tekken 2 when you were 6 years old, and you beat everybody up because you were so good, and then you had to lord it over the guy who sucked at it so bad. Well, the guy who sucked at Tekken 2 probably likes Budokai. You, the master of Tekken 2, probably thinks this is a piss-easy excuse for a children's entry-level fighting game that there's no right to be counted amongst fighting games. And if you're one of those people, well, more power to you. But if you were like me, who sucked at Tekken 2, and actually ended up being pretty good at Budokai, you might like Budokai. I love Budokai. I love talking about it, and I wanted to talk about it today. So here I am talking about it today, having talked about it today. Now I'm done. Play it.